It's not uncommon to step outside and see homeless people. To some, they are viewed as gum on the pavement, unflattering inconvenience that need to be scraped off the ground and disposed of. To others, they are invisible. Many pass them without daring to give them the glance, let alone look of them in the eyes. Their presence, undesired by most, have earned them the lives of those equal to stray animals, forced to beg, forced to sustain themselves, forced our scrapes, forced to sleep on the gum struck on the pavement. This is the homeless crisis. Previous attempts have been made to resolve this crisis, but currently, right now, have prevented results. In order to decrease the number of homeless in our cities, quick affirmative action must be taken, and it must begin at the source of the problem, their worth ethic. If nothing is done, then the state of our cities will begin to degrade and crime will rise. First, I want to talk about the problem. Second, I'm going to discuss what's been done before this happened. Third, I would like to discuss the solution to the situation we are in. It is within everyone's best interest to understand the severity of the solution, starting with the quality of life that these people live. So without further ado, let's get into it. The city of Los Angeles alone is an excellent example of our current crisis we are undergoing. According to a website called drivebydogooders.org, a site dedicated to assisting the homeless, a 53 square block known as Skid Row is home to over 11,000 homeless. Hundreds of tents line the streets, blocking sidewalks and building fronts. With very few bathrooms available in the area, the homeless population has resorted to use buckets by their tents or relieving themselves in the streets. There is no running water, as drinking fountains are not present in the area. A good portion of the population is mentally ill. Sidewalks clustered, filth piling up, business hindering, the mental ill roaming free. Skid Row is a modern day vision of what is to come for the rest of the nation if we allow this to continue. Many have previously launched efforts to solve the situation, but most have ended in vain. Now that I've told you about the problem, I would like to get your attention on what has been done in the past. Solving these types of problems requires massive coordination and cooperation of all who are involved. In 2016, 76% of LA voters were in favor of spending $1.2 billion in public funds to construct 10,000 new apartment units. Housing first was the city's main approach, but the expenses were more constantly than estimated. In addition to the high construction cost and environmental regulations acted as additional roadblocks. As years passed, the cost of construction these units only continued to go up. These self-inflicted restrictions are responsible for the lack of progress of construction and the wasteful of $1.2 billion in taxpayer money. I believe we can reduce the number of homelessness through a program similar to a failed proposal introduced by LA officers in 2016. Now that I've told you about what's been done in the past, I'd like to get your attention on the solution that we can do together. These are the two steps that I'm about to mention are taken care of before, and that anything else is to go into effect. Step one, the construction of temporary transitional housing camps. Now, these camps were served to purpose the transitioning the homeless for their current state in productive members of society. They would be sheltered. Um, they would give access to running water, heating, and electricity. All the essential needs to live a human life, which brings to step two, the relocation of thousands of homeless people who line city streets. A section of public transportation would be utilized to transport the homeless population to their transitional camps, which they would be registered and admitted into the program. So now that I've told you about the ideas for the solution, I would like to get your attention on the program that could help with these solutions, which I would like to call the 3Rs. The program would consist of three fundamentals: relocate, restore, and reintroduce. Once the homeless have been relocated and registered to the camps, they would live with each other in a simulated society where remaining isolated in the outside world. This isolation is crucial to the recovery program, as outside influences could hinder the transitional rehabilitation process. In order to restore them, they must live communally under a watchful eye. Living in a simulated society would treat them to the value of hard days' work, as simulations would be put in place, along with the currency system and bases stores to spend. An individual's trainer at a camp would be decided based on the progress of been made. That's the reintroduced. This is the especially excellent alternative as opponents are arrested to imprisoning those who have been introduced to substance abuse, a problem homeless people face. The camp's isolation prevents temptation and access to the additive substance of any kind. I must acknowledge that there are many homeless people who won't need to participate in the simulated society as they are ready to work. These prevents overflow of the camps, only allowing the most severe cases to participate in the program. Only one can only imagine the worsening of the situation if this project is not supported. Now that I've told you everything about the program, I would like to wrap things up and conclude everything that I've talked about. The homeless population of our country is in need to ineffect responses. Their lives, as well as our own, will be affected by the course of action we take. According to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in 2017, the number of people experiencing homelessness in unsheltered location increased for a second straight year of 9% between 2016 and 2017. 3 years later, we have yet to decrease this number. These numbers will continue to grow, and the homeless population will continue to spread. Neighboring areas will be affected. Local businesses will lose customers and their contribution to the local sanitation. Common areas used to recreate in public enjoyment will be reduced to slums like those of Skid Row. But if you want to see results, the program can provide. Give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. The a temporary solution is wasteful when a solution is available, and I truly believe that there is a good work ethic and reintroduced to regular homeless man and woman, a world shared amongst homeless and not homeless alike. At least the program gets into effect, until the program gets into effect. Thank you.